Hi, this is Mr. Wild here at creatortest.co.uk, and today we're going to have a look at some addition and subtraction of fractions. So part 1 will deal with the subtraction, and part 2 will deal with the addition. So the first question then is 3/4 minus 3/5. So what we must do before we add or subtract fractions is make sure that both fractions have a common denominator. That means that the bottom number is exactly the same. So how do we find out that common denominator? Well, we need to look at the denominators, and the denominators in this fraction are 4 and 5, and we need to find a number that is a multiple of both 4 and 5. Now some people do this by simply timesing 4 times 5, because that will produce a number that is 5 4s, so it's a multiple of 4, and it is 4 5s, which then therefore makes it a multiple of 5. So we get the number 20. So we know that 20 is a number that both 4 and 5 go into. Okay, so we start with 3/4, and we want to not change the fraction, but we want to rewrite it as an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 20. Now looking at 3/4 and looking at this number over 20, what have we done to the bottom number, the denominator? Well, we've times that number from there to there by 5, and we need to do exactly the same to the numerator here. So if we times 3 by 5, we end up at 15. So 15 over 20 is exactly the same as 3 over 4, because we've times both top and bottom by 5. What we're going to do then is do the same with the second fraction. We've got 3/5, and we need to turn it into so many 20ths. So we've times the bottom number this time by 4. So we must also times the top number, or multiply the top number by 4. And you end up at 12 over 20. So what we have here are two equivalent fractions to 3/4 and 3/5, but now they have exactly the same denominator. And each time we've got this equivalent fraction, we've multiplied the top and the bottom numbers by the same thing to get the equivalent fraction. Now that the fraction are equivalent, 15/20 take away 12/20, leave us with 3/20. Okay? Don't touch the denominators. If I had 3/4 of a cake and took away 1/4 of a cake, I would have 2/4. Nothing happens with the denominators here, so we end up with 3/20. Right, next we'll do